My wife's gym addiction is ruining our marriage. She's having an affair with a gym friend, leaving me with our unborn child. OP's wife, 30F, has always been fit, but has been increasingly passionate about working out over the last 1.5 years, returning to a gym she had previously left due to her busy schedule. The gym slowly started taking over her schedule, both weekend days and every weekday before and after work. Going to the gym became the solution for any stress, fights, crisis. Everything is gym. It reached the point where if the wife missed a session, it affected her mood negatively, as OP says, like a junkie not getting her fix. As wife is now pregnant, OP expresses concern over the intensity of her workouts and also that he simply misses her, given all her time is now taken up by gym. They can't work out together because gym is her time. She won't work out at his gym either. Gym becomes a form of escapism from real life, a compulsion essentially, and no problems the wife is running away from ever really get solved because gym is simply not the solution wife seems to think it is. Gym has become so prevalent that family members and friends started making comments on how much time wife and gym spend together. Update 1. OP shares that he had originally laughed over comments on his post that speculated about infidelity, but quickly came to discover they were correct. Wife has been sleeping with a guy from the gym, who she had mentioned to OP countless times as a gym friend. There is a confrontation. OP breaks wife's phone. Wife hits OP. OP leaves for a short period and returns to wife who, though remorseful, will not admit to exactly what infidelity she's committed. Update 1 ends with OP feeling guilt for his rage, left with zero answers as to exactly what's going on with wife. Update 2. My wife admitted to an affair, February 12, 2024. Wife admits to an affair. She felt bad about it, but not bad enough to not sleep with the guy from the gym pretty quickly. She might even be in love with him. She doesn't know or won't say. And oh, there's a chance the child she's currently pregnant with might not be OP's. She'll get a paternity test, though. Stellar work, wife. My wife is moving in with her AP. They're in love, February 22nd, 2024. The guy from gym and wife, who will still be referred to as wife for now, are moving in together. She's not getting the paternity test. OP expresses sadness for her, that she just can't be alone or seem to work through her mess on her own. Wife had been with OP since she was 20, and OP theorizes she is codependent. The guy from gym allegedly doesn't care if the baby isn't his. He's happy to play house with OP's wife. My wife has agreed to a paternity test, February 29th, 2024. Shocker, the guy from gym wants a paternity test. So, a paternity test they will get. In follow-up comments, OP reveals the results say he is, in fact, the father. An update on my wife's affair and pregnancy, March 15th, 2024. OP is now conflicted. He has gone from excited to be a father, to not being sure he's going to be a father at all, to now knowing he will be the father of a child born into the disaster that wife has created. There is a small but non-physical confrontation between OP and the guy from gym when wife brings him to OP's house to gather things she needs. OP tells the guy from gym to leave, or he's going to punch him. OP and wife have private words upstairs. Wife is just so in love with the guy from gym, she can't help it. Predictably, the confrontation becomes physical when OP returns to his living room to see the guy from gym still standing there despite the warning. And so OP follows through and coldly clocks him. Update 5 closes with OP and wife still legally married, but wife dedicated to living with and loving the guy from gym. Another installment of the implosion, which is my marriage, April 10th, 2024. OP's wife is still pregnant, 26 weeks. OP and wife have agreed that he will be the one in the delivery room when the baby is born, and the guy from gym will not be present. The guy from gym has a big problem with this, of course, because having an affair with and housing another man's pregnant wife simply would not be enough. OP prepares to sell the marital house and split the profit. He gets to keep their dog, thank God. Wife's sister shares with OP that wife is already complaining about the guy from gym, saying that he's selfish, hangs out away from home too much, etc. Birds of a feather and whatnot. OP ends the update expressing that he is at least happy his wife, who will soon be his ex-wife, is miserable. I'm still alive. May 19th, 2024. I'm still alive. I'm mainly posting here because several people have reached out to me and were concerned that I'd taken my own life. No, I'm not on the brink of ending my life. I think I'm doing better than I have since all of this started. Around the time of my last post, my story blew up, and I was getting messages from people who saw it on TikTok and YouTube. I had to take a step back because it was a little overwhelming. I have over 100 unread messages here. I appreciate it, but it was a little uncomfortable at the time, and I got to the point where I didn't really want to talk about the situation with my wife and her AP anymore. So, as of today, our baby is due in less than 10 weeks. We're in the home stretch now. I don't feel prepared at all. All of this other stuff has just been so distracting. I started working on a nursery. It's not done yet, but I have the floor finished and the walls painted. My ex-wife was impressed with the color scheme and furniture I chose. She's not legally my ex-wife yet, but I've started calling her that. It sort of makes it easier. I also packed up a bunch of her stuff. Originally, I refused to spend my time packing up her things, but eventually just said screw it and started packing it. I'm at the point where it'll just be easier to not see all of her stuff around here. Why did I leave it for so long? She came over to get some of the boxes I packed up. She came alone. Things were fine between us. I loaded the stuff into her car. We didn't argue. At one point, she started to tear up and said she messed up. I said, yeah, she did, but there's no point talking about it now. She messed up all over our marriage. She has her muscle-bound prize to go home to now anyway. So who cares? She said, I know, but it's not the same. I told her nothing has been the same since she decided to screw him the first time. Supposedly, he's going to let me be in the delivery room when my baby is born. I didn't even argue it when she said it like that, but inside I was boiling at the idea of him letting me be there for the birth of my child. She says she talked to him, and he agreed it wouldn't really be right to not allow me to be there. I'm going to take what I can get if it means being there for the birth of my child. I'm going to try to just ignore him for the time being. She was acting all sweet and laying on all the, I really want you there, I really need you there stuff, and I know mentally I'm not in a place to be that cold to her when she starts acting that way. I'm trying to be indifferent more than anything else, but it's so hard when she's actually around and starts looking at me a certain way and making me feel bad. She invited me over to see the nursery they have set up at his house. I'm not sure I can bring myself to go into another man's house and look at the nursery set up for my kid. I did ask her if she was truly safe there, though. I don't know why. It's just been bothering me. As pissed as I still am, I don't want to find out he's mistreating her, and I definitely don't want my kid to be going into an unsafe household. I haven't told her about anything her sister has told me. They probably won't last, but as of right now, there's a very good chance my newborn baby will be going home to his house. It kills me to think about it. It's almost soul-destroying to think about if I dwell on it too long. She says she's fine. He genuinely loves her. He's great with kids. He accepts that she's having a baby and that this is part of the package. She insists it's not weird because she wasn't pregnant when anything started between them. I asked her why she did it. Why did she ever let anything start between them in the first place? She said, I don't know. Then went into I don't want to talk about this mode and left pretty soon after. Typical behavior from her. Just run away. Overall, I'm doing okay. I'm not sitting here depressed and drinking a bottle of scotch every night anymore. I mean, on occasion, but for the most part, no. I feel more used to my new normal now, and that'll all change yet again pretty soon. Regarding custody, there is a draft plan now, but the court won't approve anything until after the baby is born. Right now, she's in agreement, but there's plenty of time for her to change her mind or for him to convince her to change her mind. She plans to breastfeed, but with the agreement that she'll pump and the baby can drink from a bottle when not with mom. Everything I've read says a baby ideally needs to spend time with each parent frequently, without gaps that are too long in between, and it's best if each parent is feeding, changing, bathing, etc. during their time. At this time, she's in agreement with all of this. I can say that she's not said or done anything to indicate she wants to restrict my time with the baby, other than the whole delivery room thing. She seems to want me to be involved in that respect. I hope she sticks to her word. If not, I will be fighting it through legal means. I'm a dad. July 2nd, 2024. I have a baby. A little girl. I'm a dad. She was born yesterday at 11:57 p.m., 2 weeks early. As the guy from gym had done before, when she was having some pains off and on, he left for work yesterday morning. She works from home on Mondays. She told me around 8:30 a.m. she was having contractions 17 minutes apart. The same thing happened not long ago, but then by evening, all the pain stopped. I was at work, so I told her to keep me posted. A little later, she said they were 15 minutes apart, and she had some other signs it might be actual labor starting. I asked her if she needed somebody there with her. She said she wanted me to come be with her. I didn't even mean to volunteer myself. She was scared. I didn't even ask why she didn't call him. I left work and went over to his house. Uncomfortable doesn't begin to describe it, but there were obviously more important things going on. He wasn't there. She didn't even contact him. She said she just wanted it to be me and her there. In her words, he hadn't seen her pee on herself yet, but I've witnessed all of that stuff already, so she was more comfortable with me there. I really tried to be as nice and supportive as possible, setting the whole thing about her affair, our marriage, everything, to the side for a brief time. I don't really know what my purpose was being there, but I think she just needed somebody there so she didn't feel alone. She spent most of the time stretching and doing some sort of yoga labor routine and bouncing on this huge exercise ball. I twiddled my thumbs for the most part and looked through a bunch of his belongings. I was timing the contractions, and they were consistent and slowly did get closer together, so I thought it was probably actually going to happen. It wasn't nearly far enough along to go to the hospital yet, and it was getting close to when he'd get home. I was planning how I'd handle that when she called me into the bathroom to ask me if I thought her water broke. It wasn't like in the movies with this huge gush of water. So he got home, and I was there. He came into the house, and the first thing he asked is, "What are you doing here?" I think he thought something else was going on. "No, you just left and went to work and left her alone when she was scared." He said he was home, and he'd be with her until it was time to go to the hospital. He put his hand on my shoulder and said something like, "Thanks, bud. I got it from here, and we'll call you when we're on the way to the hospital." He called me bud. I told him I wasn't his buddy and to get lost. I could tell she wanted me to leave. I'm not sure she really wanted me to leave so much as she was in labor, and the tension between the two of us wasn't what she needed, and I knew that. It was his house, so what was I supposed to do? I left and prayed they'd actually call me instead of letting me know the next day that my kid had been born. She texted me a few hours later to say the doctor told her to go to the hospital. At that point, I still didn't know if I was going to be waiting outside or what he'd decide was best for his apparent wife and child. I was allowed to be in the room. I didn't force my way in there. She said she wanted me to be there. He was there too. By far the single most awkward experience of my life. And the only reason I was able to excuse it was because she told me she wanted me there, and I didn't want to miss the chance to be there when my kid was born and to hold my kid before he did. I can't imagine what the doctors and nurses were thinking. Humiliating. Then the guy tried to police what I could see. I put the baby in there. He's watching, and it's like, this is still my wife, and that's my baby. I chose to stay dignified, and I ignored him the entire time. I was there to do whatever she told me to do, and my focus wasn't on him, but in any other setting, I don't think I would have been able to hold back. The baby came flying out. I mean, as far as labor goes, these are the nurse's words, and I trust labor and delivery nurses to know what they're talking about. She tore very badly because the baby came out so fast. The baby is so tiny, barely 6 pounds and only 18 inches, but perfectly healthy. I went home for a short rest, although I couldn't rest at all. I went back today, and of course, he was there. Surprisingly, he said he was going to give us some time alone with the baby. Not sure if she had previously asked him to do that when I showed up or not. Didn't ask. He even brought us all food back when he returned a few hours later. I wondered if mine might be poisoned, but I tried to be nice. He's still not gone, so I'm wondering how long he'll be around. I just can't let myself do anything that will make her try to keep me away from my daughter now. I don't want them making it difficult for me. I'd prefer not to share her name publicly, but I can confirm it's the name we chose for a daughter years ago. He had no say, and he hasn't said anything about the name at all. It kills me to see him holding her, though. I eventually left because it was just too much sitting there pretending to be like some bizarre company. I know I will get my time with her when he's not around. He's already posting them on his social media. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm going to figure it out. I just have to find a way to be the bigger person because I won't let him or their relationship discourage me from being my daughter's dad. I totally get doing anything for your kids now, and if it means having to pretend to get along with him, I will. It's not about picking me. I just have a hard time not caring about her anymore. The fact that she was carrying my child made it a lot more difficult. Otherwise, I could have and would have cut all ties with her. I don't know. I still feel the need to protect her or help her. Hopefully, it'll get easier now that she and the baby are two separate people. Honestly, I'm considering doing something pretty stupid. She's getting discharged from the hospital early tomorrow morning. I don't want them to go home with him, so I'm thinking about asking her to come home to our house instead. It's ridiculous and sets us up for disaster. It wouldn't be to be with her. I don't want my newborn baby going home to another man's house. I don't think it's for the baby's sake that I want to stop it. It's for my sake. But it's not like we'd be divorced and living together forever. We'd live together for some period of time, but eventually, we'd go our separate ways, date other people, and so on. I can't trust her again. That would probably be worse for our kid in the long run. At least by being in two separate homes in the first place. This will just be the norm for her, and she won't have to go through that heartache of being one family splitting into two. I just don't know how I'm going to be able to handle seeing my child going home from the hospital to his house. I'm honestly scared to be present when they're discharged because I'm not sure I can control myself. I caved, and I asked her to come home with me when they were discharged from the hospital. I framed it more like, if you don't want to go home with him, you don't have to. I let her know she could come home to our house if she wanted to. She said she can't. Why? Because he's done so much for her. He moved her into his house. They have a whole nursery set up. He loves her. I don't love her anymore after what she did, her words. But he loves her and accepts her, even with the baby. She thinks she'll never find anyone who will love her and love our baby too. So she can't risk losing him. I try to tell her she doesn't owe him anything just because he let her move in and there's a nursery there doesn't mean she's indebted to him, especially not when it comes to something this big. She said, I want to, but I just can't. I'm sorry. I left. I told her I couldn't sit there and watch them get into his car and go to his house. As a consolation, I got a, you can come over and see her tomorrow. Great. I know she did this. This is all her doing. But why am I the one feeling like I failed? This wouldn't have happened if I hadn't immediately shut her out. I basically just pushed her to him. Regarding the AP posting pictures online. Today, I told him he can't post pictures of her online. He said he was just posting a few pictures to say how proud and happy he was of my wife, and that it wasn't weird. I said he can post her all he wants, but he can't post the baby. He didn't seem to be taking it seriously, so I told him I know he wishes he'd won this one. But he didn't. She's my kid, not his. If he's genuine about being all friendly and respecting me as the actual father, he'll respect my request. He said okay, he understood. We'll see. Life update, July 24th, 2024. Many people have asked for an update on my situation, but I've been pretty busy. There's the baby, plus a week of completely unrelated but never-ending, annoying problems. Remember that book Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day? That's the week I've been having. But I'm not even going to get into it. Beyond saying I can't even stay at my own house right now due to a giant hole in the wall. I've been dealing with insurance and contractors all day, and they hit a water pipe. I'm still on paternity leave and continue to regularly spend time with my daughter. We have a set schedule for when my daughter comes to stay with me, so I've been spending less time over at his house. Sometimes my wife needs help during the day, though, or just to be able to take a shower or a nap, so I will stop over to help her. Really, I just want to take advantage of any opportunity one can to spend time with her and bond with her. Plus, breastfeeding isn't working out very well. She's still not producing enough milk, and I know she's upset about it, but it sort of makes things easier for me, at least. She has help when the baby is with her. Supposedly he helps, gets up at night, etc. I'm on my own, and I won't lie and say it's a walk in the park, but I think I'm getting the hang of it. The other day, she called me and asked me to come over. She said she was on the verge of a mental breakdown. I've heard that line from her many times when she cheated on me without my knowledge, and it was usually mostly related to her job. I got over there, and she was saying she can't handle being a mom. She can't handle life. She can't function. She was crying. This time, she couldn't run off to the gym. She would if she could, but she's not really allowed to exercise yet. She won't talk to anyone, won't seek professional help. Some days she seems much better than others. She's just an easily overwhelmed person. Everything overwhelms her. Sometimes we have, dare I say, a good time together. The most she can really do as far as physical activity right now is walk. We took the baby for a long walk and walked from his house to my house. Everything was fine on the walk. She was in a good mood. We were joking around. Then she turned really sad after being at my house, our former shared house. After a little while, she finally admitted that this isn't how it's supposed to be, raising our daughter between two homes. She said my home is our daughter's real home, and she's only supposed to have one home. Then she started sobbing about not having a home anymore. My house isn't her home, and her boyfriend, the guy from Jim's house, isn't her home, and she's essentially homeless and doesn't belong anywhere. She admitted she messed up really badly, and she doesn't want to share custody or to only see her daughter half the time. She just wants to come home. But she loves him, and she thinks he loves her and our daughter, and she doesn't want to hurt him after he's done all this for her. I said, so what? What she wants for her kid should be more important than his feelings. If he can't get over the fact that the married pregnant woman who he was sleeping with wants her kid to grow up in a single home with her actual father, he can get lost. He can get lost anyway. If she can't tell him and wants me to tell him, I will. She doesn't think she can tell him. I told her this is her biggest issue: communication and honesty. Just tell people the truth and stop being a coward about ever telling anyone the truth about how you really feel. Thing is, I've been tolerating him lately. Don't like him, but tolerate him. I'm not hanging out with him ever. I know it sounds crazy coming from me, but I think he's genuinely in this still. Shouldn't have been my wife. Doesn't absolve him of any of his involvement. He's back to being cloyingly nice to me, suggesting we hang out, try to be friends. He's so happy all the time. It's a little unsettling, but I think he's just one of those people, and maybe that's what she likes about him. I'm not one of those people, never will be. So anyway, she and I sort of got into an argument. It started as a discussion, turned into an argument, then morphed back to a discussion, all about everything we don't like about each other and our relationship. In the end, we were both able to say what we need from the other person. She's just too overwhelmed right now and can't make any changes. She can't handle trying to change right now. It gives her too much anxiety. So I don't know. We're sort of at an impasse right now. Then this stuff with the house. I've just been extra stressed and not really all that pleasant to deal with. My wife has moved home for now, July 28th, 2024. This month continues to be the strangest I've ever experienced. The repairs to my house were made, and I'm back home, thankfully. I can only take a few nights under my parents' roof. I slept with somebody else. We went out on a date. I think we both just wanted to have sex to say we'd finally gotten over our former spouses. She's the ex-wife of a friend of mine. She and I are actually closer friends, perhaps even better friends now than her ex-husband and I. Several people have suggested that we start dating each other. We get along great, and we are, on the surface, a really good match, but it was too weird for both of us. She's very attractive, very social, and fun to be around, and has been incredibly kind to me during this whole ordeal, but I can't see her as more than a friend. I had been intentionally avoiding sleeping with anyone else. I hadn't been with anyone since the last time I slept with my wife. That feels like an eternity ago. For the longest time, I wasn't interested in being with other women. Then it sort of morphed into my way of feeling morally superior to her. I was going to hold out and not pursue anything until after we were divorced. It's pretty pointless and childish, just a dumb way to make myself feel better and to be able to say I never cheated. I still don't feel like I cheated. There is no marriage anymore. Within hours of this happening, I started getting texts from my wife saying she decided she wants to come home. It's like she had some sort of sense. She was saying she was ready. Would I come help her? I called her and told her I don't want her to come home and to be in a relationship again. She doesn't get to just decide that's what's going to happen. She then started to say, "Oh, I know. I just meant move back in." I told her I didn't really believe her and felt like she was just jerking me around again. She said she thought our conversation the other day had gone so well and that she thought we seemed to be at a place where we could really work on fixing everything. But until then, she could live in another room. She said she was completely serious about it, and she wants our daughter to be in one home. I feel so mixed about everything. But ultimately, I want my daughter living in my house 24/7, and I don't want another man helping to raise her. So I took the bait. Today, I showed up at his house to help her move some things. But I anticipated I'd get there, and she'd either have changed her mind or she wouldn't have been planning to leave at all and was only waiting to see me do some more tricks for her. They were arguing when I got there. The baby was crying. She was crying and running around packing things in bags, and he was following behind her, begging her to stay, offering to do anything to make her stay. He accused me of this being my idea. Maybe it was, I don't know. I don't really care what he thinks. It was obvious she had just sprung this news on him shortly before I got there. She was telling him over and over that she just wants her child raised in one home, and that his home wasn't really their home. And she was sorry she was doing this to him after everything he'd done, but she just has to give our daughter one home with her real father. We got back over to my house, and she's obviously an emotional mess. I have no room prepared for her. Not 15 minutes later, he shows up at the front door. She didn't want to talk to him. He wouldn't give up, and eventually, he was there on the front porch loudly saying things like, "That's not what you were saying when you were blowing me last night." So at that point, after I'm sure our neighbors had been enjoying this embarrassing scene long enough, I told him if he didn't leave, I'd call the cops. I went out there and tried to calm him down. I mean, I had to sympathize with him. She runs away. That's what she does. I may have said a few other things in my own favor, and to make him realize he doesn't want to be involved in this mess that is my wife. I don't think he'll give up so easily. It sounds terrible, but once she was at my house, I sort of found myself wishing she'd leave with him. I know I'd wanted her to come home, and I tell myself it was mostly due to the baby, but now I'm wondering what the hell I've gotten myself into. She said, I didn't really blow him last night. I haven't done anything with him since she was born. I've only been thinking about you. I told her, yeah, right? You expect me to believe it? Even if it's true, what on earth makes you think I'd ever believe anything that you say? Then out of spite, I told her I slept with somebody else. I know I only told her to hurt her, and I feel bad about it now. She immediately demanded to know who. I told her it wasn't her business. She claims it is her business because we're still married. Nope, I'm not sharing. So now we're awkwardly existing. I don't have much faith that she's going to stay here. I think she'll be back at his place within the week. I've told her that he's not allowed over here. He has no business being here. And if we're raising our daughter in the same house together, then she can't just run off to his house to be with him whenever she feels like it. It won't work that way. She says she knows, and she wants me to want to be with her again, and she'll prove to me she can be a good partner. She tried to kiss me, and I rejected her. She's upset. She's taking a nap now. I feel like I've dug myself into a very deep hole now. I was really doing a good job of tolerating the guy since they came home from the hospital. I don't like him and never will like him, but I don't believe he had any nefarious intentions with my daughter. However, my heart broke every time I had to leave my little girl over there at another man's house. Or when I'd go over there to pick her up, and he would greet me at the door holding my baby, talking to her like he was her dad. No, that's one of the lowest feelings in the world. So for these reasons, I'm happy to have them here. I just don't know how this can or will work with her mother living here. This current environment is not at all what I want my child to grow up in, but I also don't want her growing up in another man's home. What I'm worried about is my wife dragging her back and forth. I've told her she can't do that. It's not fair to me or our child. If she is going to live here, I need to have some tenderness in my heart for her and be willing to lovingly interact with her and our daughter. My wife is postpartum and an emotional wreck, so if I gray rock her or get angry, things will go south fast in a way that won't be good for my daughter. All other paths lead to 50-50 custody and acceptance of the AP having a role in my daughter's life. I need to be civil, not friendly, civil to the AP. My wife loves him and will likely go back to him soon. If the AP and I are at war, it will be terrible for my daughter. I'm going to be nice. We sat on the porch while it was storming outside tonight, and she was talking to the baby and said, "This is how it should be, daughter's name, Mommy and Daddy." Several rude comments immediately popped into my brain, but I kept them to myself. I figure I might as well enjoy it while I can. Well, enjoy having my daughter here and maybe pretending we're a normal family for an hour. I'm not actually enjoying having my wife here right now. It's not making me feel good. I didn't mind when she was here the other day when we took a walk and came over here, but today, I'm really not enjoying her being here. I'm going to keep that to myself.